in doing this redistricting at this time, what were your primary objectives? I just want to be clear, because a lot of these questions you didn't have answers for during the committee hearing, and I just want to be clear.
Let's you and I agree to disagree. I 100% disagree with you. You just didn't like my answers. Every time nobody likes my answer, they said you didn't answer. No, you're right. I don't agree with you. Now, number one, there's nothing wrong with doing redistricting. I've said that in committee, and I said that on the floor in the opening. We can do redistricting. You have had a discussion about a U.S. Supreme Court and a Fifth Circuit that has new impact on the law, which gives us justification further to look at redistricting. And we looked at redistricting, and we created 5 new congressional seats. 4 are Hispanic majority. So what was the objective? The objective was to take all of those factors, use political performance, and see if we could increase political performance in the state of Texas. My answer is now, and it was then.
The controversy came into sharp focus when lawmakers pointed out that 2 historically African American-leaning districts, specifically Districts 9 and 33, were effectively dismantled or diluted. District 9, which had been a stronghold for African American voters, shifted to a Hispanic majority of over 50%, while the African American population dropped to just over 11%. Similarly, District 33 saw its African American percentage drop significantly, changing its voter dynamics completely. Critics of the plan argued that this was not just a coincidence, but a calculated political decision. The removal of African American voting power in these districts suggested intentional racial gerrymandering, where maps are drawn to weaken the influence of one racial group in order to secure political gains for another. This shift led to accusations that the redistricting plan was unfair and racially motivated. Lawmakers from the Texas Legislative Black Caucus emphasized that African Americans were excluded from the process entirely.
So my next question is, did you consider any alternative redistricting plans? I know as a committee member, there was no discussion, what I would call a rich discussion around the redistricting plan, the maps, or anything like that. So did you consider anything else?
Absolutely. That's why we did the substitute Monday and increased more Republicans.
And so that's why you added 12 increases? Okay. Thank you for that answer, sir. Did you express any...
One of the most striking issues raised during the Texas redistricting debate was the way public hearings were conducted before the maps were even made available to the public. Hearings were held in cities like Austin, Houston, and Arlington, giving the impression of transparency and public involvement. But the reality was that people were asked to speak and provide feedback without actually knowing what the proposed districts looked like. This undermined the entire purpose of a public hearing, because how could communities give meaningful input when they had no maps to analyze or respond to? Lawmakers opposing the plan called it a hollow exercise, a performance of democracy rather than true inclusion, where the public was technically invited but denied the essential information needed to participate in a real way. Representative Hunter acknowledged that the hearings happened before the maps were released, but he downplayed the significance of that detail. According to him, the public hearings were not legally required in the first place, and holding them, even without the maps, was a courtesy. He insisted that when the maps were finally filed, the information gathered from the earlier hearings was incorporated into the new plan.
So, Representative Hunter, thank you for laying out that, but what you didn't lay out, and I hope you will let me finish responding or answering my question, on July 24th, there was a public hearing in Austin, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
On July 26th, there was a public hearing in Houston, correct?
That's Saturday, yes.
And on July 28th, there was a hearing in Arlington, Texas, correct?
That evening in Arlington.
Okay, when did the maps drop?
I believe the maps were filed Wednesday.
So Wednesday, and then you had a hearing the next day with people who could not weigh in on a yay or a nay. It's my understanding those maps were not released until after the public hearings. Is that true or false?
Well, you're wrong because the hearing was Friday, not Thursday.
We had several hearings before the maps were dropped. Would you agree with that?
Ma'am, you just said the map was dropped and then we heard it. The fact is, it was filed that Wednesday. The hearing was Friday. Let's get the specifics down. And I've answered everything to you in committee that I'm answering here. Tuesday, after the Arlington hearing, the chairman of the committee asked me if I would present the bill to this body, which I said yes. Number two, I did not see or get the information till that Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we filed the bill.
Representative Hunter, let's be clear. There were public hearings held without any maps. Is that true?
Yes.
Just before the bill vote out, those maps were dropped at that time, correct? Because it was voted out on that Saturday morning.
The bill was voted on Saturday.
Morning. Just the other day, we had a hearing where you changed some additional districts.
The third, and perhaps most revealing fact in the Texas redistricting debate was the admission that political performance, not fairness, was the central objective guiding the process. Representative Hunter made it clear during questioning that while legal requirements like the Voting Rights Act were considered, the real focus was on creating maps that would increase political advantage. He explained that factors such as Supreme Court rulings, Fifth Circuit decisions, and demographic changes were all reviewed, but ultimately the maps were drawn with one goal in mind: to boost political performance in favor of those already in power. This statement stripped away any illusion that the process was about fairness or community representation and instead highlighted the raw political calculations at play. Hunter even admitted that the revised substitute plan increased the number of Republican-leaning districts. This acknowledgement showed that the redistricting effort was less about ensuring fair opportunities for minority communities and more about entrenching partisan dominance. By using political performance as the guiding metric, the map drawers focused on voting patterns, past election results, and demographic shifts that could be leveraged to secure long-term control. In practical terms, this meant drawing lines to concentrate or dilute certain groups of voters in ways that benefited one party while weakening the influence of the other. Critics argued that this approach ignored the principle of equal representation. Redistricting is supposed to balance districts so that every citizen's vote carries similar weight, regardless of where they live or who they support. But when political performance becomes the priority, the maps are designed not to reflect the population fairly, but to manipulate it.
Mr. Chairman, you know, you would say that the maps didn't, or no public hearings would have to be held. But question, would you believe it would be a great process to include the public in a way that they could see what's going on, or do we want to do the things in the cloak of darkness here?
Well, you've been gone in the cloak of darkness for 18 days.
That's not germane to
No,
what we're
it
talking
is
about.
germane to
No,
what
it's
you
not.
said. I
No,
could
it's not.
have public input while you were gone. You prevented this
You were
body
gone.
from acting. See, you keep interrupting me.
The merits of
and
the
don't
bill,
want-
sir. Merits of the bill.
No.
Members, please try not to talk over one another so everybody can hear your debate.
We got close to 30 million people in the state of Texas. I'm talking to Representative here, please, sir. My other question is, do you believe the state of Texas is required to create and maintain minority opportunity districts?
I think the state of Texas should use every effort to follow the Voting Rights Act, Rucho, Petaway, and all the laws. And the law firm told me that they had.
Tell me your position on on creation of coalition districts?
Well, according to Petaway, which I believe was 2024, which has now changed the law, Fifth Circuit, says coalition districts can no longer be used as Voting Rights Act Section 2 violations. And it also says there's not a requirement that you have to use coalition. So what's happened since 2021, you have maps that people are in that were using old terminology, old law, and now you have a brand new set of law that came in, and as Mr. Spiller said, it overturned the compost case, which basically was the law being used. So today, this map is taking those in factor.
So you don't believe, or do you believe, that this redistricting plan eliminates any minority opportunity districts? Does this
No, I
plan
think
do
we've
that?
created 4 out of 5 new seats are Hispanic majority. I would say that's great. That doesn't ensure that a political party wins them, but the 4 out of 5 Hispanic majority out of those new districts, that's a pretty strong message, and it's good.
Representative, would you answer my question? Was there any
I thought I
minority?
did.
It's yes or no, right?
What is yes or no?
Did you
That I
eliminate
created-
any minority districts? Was any minority districts eliminated?
Did political performance change districts? Yes. Did they change? Did, for example, some in one area become Hispanic over African American?
Did you eliminate
Yes.
any minority districts?
I really don't understand your question. Did we
Okay, well, we'll
change
move
minority
on. We'll
districts?
move
Did we
on.
change districts in the state of Texas? Yes. And political performance was used.
All right.